In the recent anniversary update, Ember Labs introduced New Game Plus, and in New Game Plus you can find scattered around the world new Charmstones to help you in battle. I'll put a link in the description to a video of a fellow YouTuber where you can find the location of all of those Charmstones. So this video has a purpose. It's about knowing which charms are the best and which ones are, I'll say, forgettable. So without further ado, let's dive into it. First thing first, there is that one charm which stands above all those other charms in a league of its own. I'm of course referring to Bravery, which is the third charm I've got in New Game Plus, and ever since I got it, I never took it off. Even when I came across some other charms, I never felt the need to change because it is that good. So Bravery allows you to get courage, a lot of courage out of all sources. I'm talking bow damage, staff damage, your dash, everything which would normally reward you with courage is going to give you even more courage. And that charm, I'll say, shines in every situation, especially in bosses, in boss fights, because in the, in New Game Plus, the bosses have 3 phases, and if you play your cards right and you use Bravery efficiently, you're going to bypass that 3rd phase altogether. The boss is never going to transition because you're going to be spamming your bombs. Yeah, you get courage, and courage is going to be used to perform road actions such as using the road hammer, your super powerful bow shot, your road bombs, and also healing. So there isn't a scenario where getting a lot of courage isn't going to give you that edge into battle. That's mostly why it is that good. Whether it's a 1v1 or you are, I'll say, surrounded by a lot of enemies, it's always going to be useful because you get so much courage so fast. And my strategy is to dash, spam my bombs and dash. Your bombs, which throws, I'll say, which freeze enemies in time, is such a good way to immobilize them and hit multiple people at once, getting even more courage. And there isn't, again, a single scenario where, I'll say, Bravery doesn't shine, which makes it the overall best and undisputed charm. So there is something I need to address first here. When I say that some charms are forgettable, it doesn't mean that they are useless or bad, right? It's just that in my testing, there are so many charms doing the same thing that it's all about finding the one which does it best and forget about the rest. Because if I have 8 charms doing one thing in particular, and there is one charm which excels at doing that one thing, there is no reason whatsoever to use anything else. And that's the problem with the charms they introduced. They are lackluster. There is no point in so many charms being linked to staff damage and one of them being very good. Because when you have that one charm which is very good at doing, at the staff damage attribute, and then you have those other charms with the same attribute but which do not perform that well, it's very hard to justify using anything else. And I forgot to mention that, but Bravery has no downsides. Actually, it makes your rot glow in the dark, which is kind of neat. So it has no downside whatsoever, and everything else has a downside. Almost everything else has a downside. I don't know why if you want to go hard like that, go hard with every charm. But with how overpowered Bravery already is, it has no downsides. Whereas some other charms which are less, I'll say, less good, have downsides. I don't know if you understand what I mean. It's like it's pointless to have those charms and which are not already good be even less good. But anyway, here are the charms I'll say are very good when you forget about Bravery. Some charms I would personally use, so let's go. Recovery is going to allow you to get some health back for every staff damage for 5 seconds after getting hit while removing your last hit protection. And if you don't know, whenever your health is very low, you don't immediately die. It's going to transition from blue to red, and while it is in the red-ish thingy, you can take one more hit. The good thing, because in my experiments, I was skeptical about the usefulness of recovery because it implied that I was going to purposely maybe get hit, but there is a workaround. Every kind of damage is going to count toward triggering recovery. And one thing in particular which is, I'll say, very good is that your bombs, whatever kind of bomb you use, can slightly, and I'll say it's neglectable, it's not going to be significant, but your bombs can damage you and trigger recovery. And because you have an infinite amount of bombs, it means that you can heal endlessly, which makes it very good. Even those vines, you'll see that some fields have those vines. You can purposely step into those vines and injure yourself and then go back and hit people, and boom, you have your health back. And I can see that being useful in boss battles, and also I'll say in those spirit guide trials, because some of them require you to not heal at all. But imagine if you had a mean to heal no matter what without using health flowers, because that's the catch. You are not allowed to heal while using health flowers, but recovery can be used to heal all the time. I feel like this is awesome. See, and it has, I'll say, the fact that you cannot get that last hit protection is okay, because you can heal whatever you want. So GG, recovery is a good charm. Recharge is going to allow you to fully get back your shield post parry. And personally, I am more of a dodge person. I backflip a lot and I tend to never block. But I used my spirit dash a lot to deal a lot of damage, to interrupt enemies, and to get carriage very fast, which means that I have multiple instances where I found myself without a shield and I had to run around, but with recharge allowing me to get my shield back instantly by performing a parry, I feel like it's a good way to keep the aggro on an enemy without being afraid of not having the dash or being able to block. And I think this is a very good charm. I mean, not very good, it's decent, because you still have to make the parry, so I think it's just a good, decent charm. Unturnished works the same way as recharge, except every time your health is maxed out, you're going to deal, I'll say, 10% to 5% more damage. That's what they mean by moderately. And also, every time you perform a parry, you get some health back, way more health than you get from that other charm which allows you to heal. And I think it's a good compromise, right? Because you can get health every time you perform a parry, and also because chances are, if you are really good at not getting hit, you're always going to have that damage buff. But unfortunately, I feel like it should be about all kind of damage and not just the staff damage. I don't know why exactly they wanted to restrict, right, the damage to the bow, I mean to the staff. I feel like it's a missed opportunity, but you know, Untarnished, decent charm. And since we are on the topic of staff damage, resilience is going to allow you for 8 seconds after taking damage to increase your staff damage moderately. Now, because we already established that any kind of damage is going to count toward triggering your charm, it makes having that moderate buff permanent, because you can just spam your bombs or step into those vines, making, I'll say, that moderate buff kinda good. It's not a good charm, it's a mid charm. But then again, if you compare that charm to those other charms doing the same thing, I feel like resilience is the better compromise. There is that one charm which is going to allow you to get more health out of flowers, and every time for 10 seconds after receiving health from those flowers, your staff damage is going to be greatly increased. The reason why I don't consider that a good thing, I mean a good charm, it is a good thing, but it's very situational, because there's already a shortage of health flowers on the field. Sometimes you only have 2 or 3, so you're always going to get, I'll say, 30 seconds. Is 30 seconds enough to defeat a boss? I don't think so. Even some enemies, some encounters are going to last more than, I'll say, even in the trials, you're going to last more than 7 to 6 minutes. So 30 seconds in 6 minutes is insignificant. For me personally, I don't feel like it's good, and I'd rather have resilience, which can always get me my moderate. I don't even know why they made it moderate. Like, if you want to make the downside heavy, make the upside just as good. Anyway, that's it for me. That's it for, I mean, not for the video, that's it for the good charms, the mid charms, and the very good charm, because everything else does the same thing. For example, you have Last Stand, and Last Stand is basically having Bravery, but there is just one thing you need to be on the brink of death for the charm to trigger. And I feel like, okay, wait, either I use Bravery all the time or I handicap myself by using Last Stand and waiting for me to be on the verge of death for it to be activated. That's what I meant by they have many charms, but some of them just fall short compared to the alternative. And I'm going to address the cursed charm now. I've experimented a bit with the cursed charm. First of all, I'm very disappointed in the cursed charm because when I first got it, I thought it was going to be that super overpowered charm with a heavy downside, but it was just downsides and that's it. So why would I use it? Even if I want to hand it, I used it and it didn't change much. Yes, you're going to get hit pretty hard when you do get hit. Yes, you use your protection hit, but your health also decreases slowly. But the health going down slowly is not that big of a deal because it is very slow. The only way it's going to be a problem is if you are already on the verge of death and then you don't have any means to heal. Then unless you kill the enemy or the boss, you're going to die. But again, it doesn't restrict your ability to heal, so you can heal anytime you want, right, with those health flowers. And I'm very disappointed because I thought they could have made the charm more interesting. So here's an idea to make that one charm better and actually very useful, because I feel like it's going to be the least used charm ever made in a video game, because why would you? In my opinion, the cursed charm should be the embodiment of all those other charms. You should be able to greatly deal damage with your staff, your bow, your bombs. Any kind of damage should be buffed. You should also get Bravery right off the bat. Be able to get a lot of, I'll say a lot of courage, no matter how you get it. You should always be able to get your shield back post parry. But here's the thing, you cannot heal whatsoever and your health decreases very fast at a faster rate. It's going to force you also removing your last hit, whatever, like put all the downsides on, but also buff it so that it's like high risk, high reward. Hence why it's cursed. Let's say that no matter what you do, in 1 minute you're going to die. So you have 1 minute to use all those tools to the best of your abilities, otherwise boom, you dead. Isn't that, I feel like it's a way better way to reward player and to have them find new ways to fight, as opposed to just putting random downsides on a charm and calling it a day. And I feel like a lot of other charms should be reworked because they don't make sense, right? I tried the bow charm, which they say vastly increases your bow damage for 3 seconds. 3 seconds after you defeat an enemy. First of all, it's not going to be useful in a situation where you only have one enemy or even two enemies, right? So it's out of the question to use those charms if you only have one enemy to defeat, making them useless. That's the problem. Like, they purposely made a lot of charms useless depending on the situation. Some charms will excel in 1v1 and some charms will excel in when you are fighting multiple enemies, but never both. That's the missed opportunity because you purposely made your charms useless. And when it comes to that one charm increasing your bow damage, it's only useful again if you are fighting I'll say basic enemies with very low health. That's the only way you can actually kill using the slight buff in your bow damage. Otherwise, again, useless, forgettable. I'm eager to know what you think about, the charms they introduced. What charms are you using right now? I'm Jiso, and thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video, consider subscribing, drop it a like, and I'll see you around. Bye bye.